So do you also want to automate faculty feedback analysis for your own educational institution? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to automate faculty feedback analysis with an AI agent and Google Sheets. So like you, I also wish to automate this faculty feedback analysis. So for that I've simply created this amazing automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as my students submit the feedback with the help of Google form, automatically my AI agent is going to generate the summary of the feedback, and further we are going to add that summary into our Google Sheets. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Forms, my AI agent, which is OpenAI, and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to come with me towards my screen.
Welcome to my screen. So as you know, in this video I'll show you how to automate faculty feedback analysis with an AI agent and Google Sheets. So whether you're collecting ratings, comments or suggestions, this workflow is going to instantly generate you summaries, highlight the patterns and even suggest improvements. It's a powerful tool for educational institutions looking to save time and make data-driven decisions. So let's dive in and turn the raw feedbacks into actionable insights. So I have already created this automation, and first I'm just going to show you the proper working of this automation. So as you can see that I have already filled in this form right over here as test user. You can see the instructor's name which I have entered. You can see the course title. Over here you can see the overall rating, and over here you can see what I like and what are the areas of improvement and the additional comments I have entered. So now after entering all of these details, I'm simply going to submit this form right over here. And once we're going to submit this form, the details of these forms have been added right over here in my spreadsheet. All right. Also, my AI agent has generated me the summary for the same. So within seconds in real time, this summary has been generated because my student only filled out the details till this additional comments or suggestions. And using all the details which my student filled out, the AI agent generated me the summary with the help of which I can take further decisions without reviewing the whole feedback one by one. So yes, it saves me a lot of time, and within seconds in real time the summary was also generated. So yes, this is no magic. This is the power of automation which we're going to create in today's video. And if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own educational institution, then for that you have to watch this tutorial till the end. So to do this, we are simply going to open a new tab, and we're going to open the landing page of Pabbly Connect simply by searching pabbly.com/connect in our browser. And now we're going to open the landing page of Pabbly Connect, and over here we're going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free, and you're going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this button which says sign in, and now it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connects account. And once we're going to click on this access now, it is opening my dashboard, and to get started we are simply going to click on this button which says create workflow. And now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here on my dashboard you can see multiple folders which I have already created and which I save my workflows. So if you also want to create a new folder, you can go towards this create new folder button and create your own. I've already created multiple, so I'm just going to save my workflow in one of these only, which is automations. And now I'm just going to name my workflow as this, which is automate faculty feedback analysis with an AI agent. And then we are simply going to click on this button which says create. And once we're going to click on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger Trigger means when this happens, and action means do this. So by this, you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm simply going to select it as Google Forms. So I'm just going to search for Google Forms right over here, and as you can see, Google Forms right over here. So we are simply going to select Google Forms, and after selecting the trigger application for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new response received, and now it is giving me a webhook URL. So we're going to use this same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connects workflow. So what we're going to do is I'm simply going to copy this webhook URL, and then we have to follow this help text, and it is saying log into your Google Form account on which you want to take the submission and make the last question as required for the trigger. So I'm just going to open my Google Forms, and over here in the Google Forms, you have to keep in mind that the last question which you select should be required for the trigger. So as you can see, the last question is required right over here. So this is a really important step, all right? And after making this last question as required, we can move on further and go towards this responses. And after coming over here towards this responses, over here you can see I'm getting the option of view in sheets. So what is going to happen is that if you haven't linked your Google Forms with your spreadsheet, you're going to get the option of link with sheets right over here. So you can simply click on link with sheets, and then you're going to get the option of view in sheets. I have already linked my Google Forms with my spreadsheet, so I'm just getting the option of view in sheets. So as you can see that this is the sheet which I have linked with my Google Forms. And now using this spreadsheet only, we're going to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connects workflow. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm simply going to open my spreadsheet with the help of which I've connected my Google Forms. And now from here we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And after coming over here towards this get add-on, we have to add an extension in this spreadsheet which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So I'm simply going to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here and open this. And as you can see that I have already installed this extension right over here. So if you haven't installed this extension, you're going to get the option of install right over here. I've already installed this extension, so it is giving me the option of uninstall, all right? And you can install this extension right from here, and once you're going to install this extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. So it is a really important step to refresh your spreadsheet, otherwise you'll not be able to get the option of Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here in your extensions tab. And after getting the option of this Pabbly Connect Webhooks, we simply have to go towards this Pabbly Connect Webhooks and then towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, it is asking me for the webhook URL and the trigger column. So for the webhook URL, we are simply going to paste the URL which we copied from our workflow. And now for the trigger column, I'm simply going to enter my trigger column, which is H. So the trigger column will be your final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards your webhook URL. So that is the reason why we made the last question as required in our Google Forms, all right? And I'm simply going to click on this blue button which says submit. And with this, we have successfully created a connection between our Google Sheets and our Pabbly Connects workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webhook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my Google Forms, and we're going to do another test submission with the new details. So I'm just going to open my form, and we're going to do the test submission with the new details. Let's say this time for the full name, I'm just going to keep it as demo user. And now for the instructor's name and the course title, I want it to be Professor Sarah Williams and Data Analytics for Business. Now we're going to move on further. Now I'm just going to give the course rating right over here, and now I'm just going to enter what I like about the instructor's teaching, and then I'm just going to enter the instructor's area of improvement, and at last I'm just going to give the additional comments and suggestions. So now after getting all of these details, I'm simply going to click on this button which says submit. And once we're going to click on this submit, with this we have successfully did the test submission, and now these details have been sent towards my webhook URL, which is towards my workflow. So I'm just going to open my workflow, and as you can see, yes, Pabbly has captured the response right over here. So yes, I have got this response because I've simply switched on this button, which we're going to go in the extensions tab, Pabbly Connect Webhooks, and over here you can see the button of send on event. So it is a really important step to switch on this button, because upon switching on this button, what is going to happen is that whenever a new event is going to occur in the spreadsheet, automatically the details would be sent towards your webhook URL. So what happened is that as soon as I submitted the form, automatically the details were added right over here in this spreadsheet, and because I switched on this button, automatically the details are sent towards my webhook URL, which is towards my workflow. That is the reason that we captured the response right over here. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step. step, and now whenever I'm just going to submit a new Google form, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. And now further what I want is I want to automate faculty feedback analysis with an AI agent. So for my action application, I'm simply going to select it as my AI agent, which is OpenAI. So I'm just going to search for OpenAI and select it right over here. And now for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as ChatGPT and click on this connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this, select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the token. And to get this token, we are simply going to follow the help text, and it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key that you need to enter here. So I'm simply going to go towards my OpenAI API key page to get my API key. And after coming over here towards this page, we simply have to go towards this green button which says create new secret key. And now it's asking me for the name of my key. So I'm simply going to enter the key name, select the project and click on this create secret key button right over here. And as you can see that my key has been created. So I'm simply going to copy this key and then we're going to paste this key right over here in our workflow. And once we're going to paste this key right over here in our workflow, we can simply click on this blue button which says save. And with this, we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it's asking me to select the AI model. So I'm simply going to select my AI model as GPT-4o Mini. You can select any another of your choice. And now it is asking me to enter the prompt. So I'm simply going to enter the prompt to generate the summary of the feedback received. So I'm just going to enter the prompt right over here. And as you can see that with this, we have successfully entered the prompt. And now I'm just going to enter all of the inputs right over here so that with the help of which we can generate the summary. But we are not going to enter it manually by typing it like this, but instead we're going to map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Forms as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. So I'm simply going to map all of these details from the response of my Google Forms only. So we're going to start by mapping the student name. So I'm just going to look for student name right over here, which was the full name of my student. So I'm just going to map it. Now we're going to move on further. I'm just going to map the instructor's name. We're going to move on further. I'm just going to map the course title right over here. We're going to move on further. I'm just going to map the rating right over here. Now we are going to move on forward. I'm just going to map this. What did you like about the instructor's teaching? I'm just going to move on further. I'm just going to map the areas of improvement, and at last I'm just going to map the comments which my student provided. And after mapping all of these details, I'm simply going to click on this blue button which says save and send as request. And now using these details, my AI agent is going to generate me a summary. And over here you can see that my AI agent has generated me the summary using these details. And now I'm just going to add this same summary in my spreadsheet. For that, I'm just going to add another action step. And now for the action application, I'm simply going to select it as Google Sheets. So I'm just going to search for Google Sheets right over here, and as you can see the same, so I'm simply going to select it. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as update cell value and click on this connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Sheets account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this, select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now you have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now Pabbly is asking me to select my Gmail account with the help of which I want to connect my Google Sheets. So I'm simply going to select my Gmail account right over here. And once we're going to select the Gmail account, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So what we're going to do is I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. And once we're going to click on this allow, with this we have successfully connected our Google Sheets account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. Now it is asking me to select the spreadsheet, select the sheet, enter the range and the value. So here you can see the name of my spreadsheet is faculty feedback form responses. So I'm just going to select the same right over here, which is faculty feedback form responses. And now for the sheet, I'm simply going to select it as form responses 1. Now we're going to move on further. It is asking me to enter the range of the sheet that needs to be updated here. So it will be the column name plus the row index. All right. So as you can see over here, the range which I need to update is this I4. So I'm simply going to enter I4 right over here. But we are not going to enter it manually like this, because right now it is I4. But with every new response, it is going to be changing. It will be I5, I6, I7 and so on. So as you can see that this I is constant. So we can keep this I as static, but we have to map the row index. So I'm simply going to map the row index because the row is going to change with every new response. response received. And now it is asking me to enter the value which I want to add right over here in this range. So for that, I'm just going to simply map the response of my AI agent. And after mapping all of this, we are simply going to click on this blue button which says save and send as request. And now we have received a positive response that we have successfully added this summary into our spreadsheet. So I'm just going to open my Google Sheets, and as you can see, the summary has been added right over here. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow. And now what is going to happen is, like I showed you in the starting of this video, whenever a new form submission is going to be made with the help of this Google form, automatically my AI agent is going to summarize that form and add the summary of the same into my spreadsheet. All of this is going to happen in backend. We don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. Like I showed you in the real time, automatically within seconds the summary would be generated and added into my spreadsheet. So yes, now go try this amazing automation for your own educational institution. And while trying, if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. See you in the next video with many more automation tips, everyone. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can connect many more applications. So now if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this URL. And now go try this amazing automation for your own business too, because right now we are offering a free trial of Pabbly Connect.